So he's a Warden of Death now instead of a Warlock. Uh, he went with Fiona back to the base, I guess we're calling it, our evil wizard tower. And he gave her a couple things out of the safe, one of which was her book that we still had. The other one were the 3 curse books that we had in the safe. Turns out, you know how Fiona has her books?
Mm-hmm.
Asriel has his own. And those 3 books were 3 of his. Let's see. He found out that Felicity is probably trapped in the Nether. That Asriel probably has the book that Felicity had of Fiona's, and uh, this is all shit I'm reciting without having my notes open. We also found out that Fiona's basically God with a capital G. And the only reason why she hasn't stopped this whole mess is because she's bound to the same rules that the other gods are, aka they can't cross over without losing a great deal of their power. There's loopholes around that though. Like, say if we were to go into the Nether and summon Fiona with the right materials, one of which is a vial of her blood, she would be in the Nether at full force, you know, and she'd be able to do a lot of ass kicking for us. There's go ahead.
I was gonna say, is do we trust her on that level? Like, not being a dick or anything, but I don't know that we trust her quite that much that we want to unleash her. And then, like, what happens if she gets in the nether and it turns out, oops, this was all a ploy? She's a giant cunt, and just starts going ape shit.
Well, she did admit to killing death and good and evil before and taking their essence into herself, and she says it almost broke her. So she's claimed to not be interested in doing that. She does have plans though. You know our dearest cleric and the princess, sorry, the queen.
It's
Mhm.
Divine Soul Sorcerer.
Oh, divine soul sorcerer. She acts like a cleric. Well, Ciela and Alicia, I
Second.
never can tell. Alicia. She plans to replace Michael, the god of good, with Ciela, and Asriel, the god of evil, with Alicia. Because the two of them are the two of them are supposed to be getting along right now, or at the very least, they're supposed to be not invading the mortal realm. So her master plan is to kill Asriel, kill Michael, put Ciela and Alicia in their places, and that'll be good. So my suggestion is to not, jump the gun or anything, but to keep an eye on her and see if we can trust her in this. Let me actually open my notes and see if there's anything. Why do I have so many notepads?
How much game time passed well?
Also,
for a period of time.
about a day. I did learn that the contract between the House of Champions and no agency is set to expire in 3 days. My recommendation is to renew the contract and send even more people to the Terror to make a renewed push, because Jessica's going back. It would be good for morale, if that has any mechanical benefit, to send a fresh wave of soldiers in there.
I agree. That makes sense to
People's
me.
been lost.
I concur.
Let's see. Fiona gave Halbjorn a journal to be used for communication. It's basically like the the sending spell, he writes something to her on the back page of the journal. She writes something back, and the messages delete themselves when they've been read.
It sounds like Tom Riddle's diary.
As I was just about to say, as any good Potter, I would be missing a great opportunity if I didn't include my heritage. So, of course, Tom Riddle's diary.
Oh, I missed that reference. So the components to summon her into the Nether are a portion of her blood, a phase stone, which we'll figure out what that is, and a strong focus made in and originating from the plane she's being summoned to, the Nether. Which, after some out of character discussion, I realized that as a warden, Halbjorn can turn a weapon into a spellcasting focus. So we could take one of those really nasty curse weapons that we killed that one bitch for. You know, the one that I tried to heat metal on. She had a bonus sword. Yeah, I knew one of you would remember that. That could possibly be used as a focus, or we could just get her all of her books, of which she now has 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. 2 out of
2
4.
out of 4. Yeah.
Okay, what was the last thing? I'm making a list, and I forgot what the quote-unquote title of the last thing is.
The last thing is here, I'll just put it in chat in general.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Oops.
I don't know if he said it, but Halbjorn's pretty sure that Felicity is actually the dragon that Cassandra supposedly rides into battle and keeps at her side.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, so if she's been snatched up by Asriel, that's quite unfortunate. And probably something we should rectify at some point.
I feel like we have too many balls in the air right now.
Yeah, so at some point, once we've got a few less things to juggle.
Didn't you take the juggling feat, though?
I did actually. I did take performance, true.
Well, that solves all the problems.
Pretty sure Fiona said she wasn't in danger, she was just trapped.
I just wanted to be a juggling bear. Is that a problem?
No, no problem at all.
As long as you're not called Trinket.
Magical
no.
girl by day, juggling bear by night. Look at him go. What your Sailor Moon name would be?
Sailor
Yeah,
Wanker. Anyway,
Wanker. Fucking tuxedo mask.
the other day was at Lowe's and there was someone with a car covered in like Sailor Moon like the big stickers or whatever like on their car, and then they had the fuck is the name of the black cat? They had like seat covers that were the black cat from Sailor Moon. I'm like, you are way too into this. I was really expecting to see like, you know, a 400-pound white dude driving it, but there was no one in it. So
Fucking weeb.
basically.
It's either a 400 pound, like 38-year-old grease factory, or like a 19-year-old girl. Those are your two options.
Yeah.
And don't forget, she would also be a grease factory.
Maybe. I've definitely seen, like, I don't know, being a weeb has come into fashion as of late. There's a bunch of, like, like nerdy, overly thin white people who are really into anime now.
That's kind of weird, but yeah, alright.
Man, Zoomers are weird. There's not much you can say about it.
That's true.
They are the
Every-
future.
Every generation is weird. They're just weird about different things.
Oh yeah, no. And this is not to say that I personally do not enjoy anime. This is fucking weeb coming from a fucking weeb.
So let's. Okay, I'm gonna update my notes and figure out what all the threads we have going on right now. So we just saved Jessica, so that's taken care of. We've got the slaver stuff coming up soon. That's like in the next. Fuck, I don't remember how many days it is from now.
Where's my fucking phone?
So we've got that going on. We've got working on the stuff. We've got to do some like massaging of the situation between Mech and Lunastrella so we can get trade opened.
Is the tower done? Like, do we have our fancy drawbridges and stuff? And our docks and everything?
Yeah, the only thing you're missing is spell list.
Oh, crap. Yeah, that's like been a month late, isn't it?
Sorry.
I submitted a list.
Submitted a list.
Yeah. Submitted a full spell list. Because when Dale asked us to, I submit like for suggestions, I submitted a full list, and he was surprised at the things I put on the list.
It's true, I was. As far as current objectives, like timeline wise, the 4 that I have right now are meat slavers in summertime. That's still 20 days out. Securing the political power in Mech. That's 2 days out. That's an idle time thing. You guys don't need to do anything about that. Apply for guildship. That's in 36 days. And the House of Champions contract ends in 3 days.
So the House of Champions is the same thing as the Tear, effectively, right? Like that's where we were sending people at the Tear.
Yeah, the House of Champions is the group that you guys sent to the Tear.
Okay. Yeah, definitely renew that. So here's what I have. We've got to deal with the slavers. We've got the Mech Lunastrella stuff. We're waiting on the Tower. We've got the Tear. We've got the House of Champions, which are basically the same thing. We've got the guild ship stuff. We're talking about going adventuring to try to find some magical goods or magical.
So we need to send people back out to the Tear with Jessica.
Yeah, I feel like that should be priority number 1 right now.
That sounds like the most pressing
What, the tear?
thing to do now.
Yeah, reinforce the Tear. Well, since Jessica's going back out there, we want her to show back up and with like a large force, like a show of force, to say, hey, like we're here to kick ass and chew bubblegum when we're all out of bubblegum.
Yeah.
So currently, 3 of the main party members plus Ciela are in Merrywind, and Halbjorn decided to poop off to Mech.
To poop?
Yep.
He was just so struck by Fiona's beauty. He was like, hey, girl, let me work for you.
You were so into it, you just shit yourself?
She's like, down, boy.
So how do you...
Okay, carry on.
Okay. Alright, yeah, never mind.
Okay, so I guess we go and renew our contract with the Champions Guild, right?
So, but hold
Yep.
on. So currently, Halbion isn't back yet.
Halbjorn is in mech. He would be in a position to do all these things while you guys are out.
Yeah, I realise that. But if Halbion's not back yet, have you relayed all that information to us? Or
So we're basically done in Merrywind, though, right?
We showed up, we saved Jessica, which is what we came here for. We came here to talk to what's her face, figure out the situation. We figured out the situation. Jessica needed saving. We saved Jessica.
So then, if we're basically done in Merrywind, then we should go back to Mech.
Yeah, I think the plan was we were going to take a long rest and then go back to mech, basically. If we take a long rest, I can just port us straight to mech, and we don't have to worry about like trying to get there.
Well, and she has they have a port too.
Oh yeah, so we can literally just port back to mech and go.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Okay. Well, I vote for going home then.
Yep, same.
So after a well-deserved long rest, you guys head out, say your goodbyes. Head back to mech through the portal in the fountain in which you came. Back in the tower, Halbjorn's relayed said information. And now where to?
I mean, we're gonna take our long rest, and then we're gonna go talk to the Champions Guild, I think.
Well,
Did anything happen
I was
while
gonna
we were
say,
out?
you built the long rest already.
Got it.
Yeah.
We should consider sending people from other guilds as well.
Yeah.
Just double down on the tear. Maybe even triple down. Also, by hiring people to go to the tear, we could potentially be depriving other people of hireable mercenaries
It's true.
to be deployed against us. And I think that would only make our takeover of mech that much more fluid. Like I said, some dickhead can't just hire a bunch of goons and be like, hey, now we have to negotiate.
That makes sense. Well, definitely. Okay, so
Yeah.
who can we hire from other than the Champions Guild? And do the Champions Guild have more people we can hire from them?
Yes, they have more people to hire from them. You can really hire from anyone, except for Path of the Iron Fist is locked right now.
Good dicks, anyway. You don't want to give them money.
Oh my
I would like-
goodness, I'm so confused as to why.
I would like to set them on fire, not give them my money. And I guess you
Never
could say
could have
that
guessed that particular thing happening.
you could say that my currency is fire, though. So maybe that is giving them my money. I don't know. The whole thing's kind of obscure.
Oh, fuck, that's why. I totally forgot where the things were.
As far as other guilds go, let's see here. I mean, like I said, you've got really everyone. You've got the two groups that aren't discounted are the Southern Witches and the Ever Living Mages. Outside of that, everyone's discounted in one way or another. Let's see here. Outside of that, I mean, 1, 2, 3. You've got 4 or 5 groups who specialize in muscle, and another 1, 2, 3, 4 groups who specialize in high risk situation. So those would be your obvious choices. Your cheapest choices would be either the Vanguard or the League of Assassins.
Might be fun to send some assassins out there.
I agree, but how effective are they in like that? Like League of Assassins, right? Doesn't say to me like frontline fighters.
No, probably definitely not high. Probably not frontline fighters, but back end defensive fighters or I don't know, like I don't know, backup support fighters.
Aren't we supposed to be finding a way to stop them from sending people or critters through the tear?
It is on the to-do list.
Okay, is everybody else not talking? Because all I'm ever hearing is Dale.
I've been speaking.
Yeah, I've been quiet.
Okay.
Well, my recommendation is we hire literally as many people as we can afford and send them to the tier.
Okay. So
Well, given that you have 56,850 gold pieces, I don't think that cost is a whatchamacallit
So
factor.
they would run out of hireable mercs.
That's our good money. We got to be cheap at that. We only have 56,000 gold pieces.
It's only 56. Fuck.
Oh my god, Muskies, get out of here. Next you're gonna tell me you
Like-
don't take a salary.
It's not like we and it's not like we can just go somewhere and kill somebody and take all their money and shit. Fuck, what are we gonna do? We could have a bake sale.
I don't know, Albion could probably pull a little tail, so we could probably set up a brothel. It makes money pretty quick, typically.
Yeah, I could charm some youngins who don't know any better into working for us.
I was
Boy,
thinking
that
big
sounded a
beefy
lot
women
better
who
in my
really work
head.
you over. Some Helgas,
Oh.
some Olgas.
You know what? He could recruit some people from his family clan to come work.
Your brother cousins?
Well, listen, you can think of Halbjorn's people as like fucking Vikings who settled down.
That sounds very much like brother cousins.
Yeah, so they'll fuck you up, but they'll do it with like 4 toes. Okay, so
Okay.
besides hiring more mercs, what else are we gonna do?
There were other things to do, aren't there?
Nope, this is now a
Yeah.
hiring merc session. Or only hiring mercs.
Okay.
Nothing else.
We should
Okay.
probably also give Yellowbeard the good news that hey, we've got docks. Start bringing your people in and get some boats.
Yeah. Start trading. Or not trading.
Privateering.
Yeah. Sure, that works.
Well, we trade them cannonballs and musket fire for all their riches. It's a good trade. If Harlan has picked out a list of spells for the tower to have, I think I would like to trust his judgment on the matter. She is, after all, our caster. Has been from the start, if memory serves.
Yeah. I second that.
Makes sense.
Totally off topic. You guys want to hear a really bad joke?
Yes,
Sure.
I live for them.
What's the difference between bird flu and swine flu?
I don't know.
One needs tweetment and the other one needs ointment.
Jesus Christ. Love it.
Oh.
God.
Nice.
I was expecting something really salacious. So while that was just my level of cheesy, I'm slightly disappointed. 'Cause I was
There's a
expecting something.
new 5-year-old's joke for you. Don't scratch me.
Okay, I won't.
By the way, what else do we have left in the safe that belongs to the party and not Ciela?
Get out of here. Some paintings. Bondage gear.
Oh, did we put that back?
No, we took it with us. Well, we might as well find out what the bondage gear was about. Is it magical? We cast Identify on it.
I can cast it on it, no problem. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this Illithid bondage gear, it's just it's very similar to where is what I'm looking for. It's very similar to dimensional shackles. in the sense that ooh, I'm sorry. Heartburn. In the same sense that like it'll adjust to different size elephants. something in the that's in the gear can't communicate telepathically, and automatically like they can't cast like command, or I don't know how to properly word it.
It shuts down psionics.
Yeah, I
So
think that would be a
essentially-
good way to put it.
It's what, sorry?
Say that again.
So, yeah, I was saying what did John say then?
Oh, I said it shuts down psionics.
Okay, right.
That would be a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So it locks them up and binds them in the same way, but in this particular case, like instead of not being able to teleport, it's they can't use their psionic powers.
Damn, we could have put that on the Lich.
I know.
Tried to anyway.
No, sorry. More importantly, we can put them on Nos.
Yeah, he's that little background there.
That's one of the things that needs to go in the thread, my list of threads.
Oh yeah, Fiona knew about Nos. How you asked her about him. She doesn't appear to be a fan of his. In fact, I'm pretty sure she's told him to put his ass in the dirt next. If he ever gets a chance.
I mean, he's a vampire, doesn't he? Sleep in a coffin full of his grave dirt.
Well, we're gonna have a Harlan poop in the coffin.
Ah, okay.
Wunderbar.
Poop in the coffin.
Yeah. And then we'll mix it with a shovel until the amount of Harlan feek to soil is unbalanced in Harlan's favor. And
That's my good pooping
Ross
coffin.
can't regenerate.
Why does nobody ever lace a vampire's coffin with like pepper? You know, itching powder, like you would with like somebody's underpants or something, so that when they actually go to, so they just don't get a decent day's sleep. And when they wake up, they're like, "Oh fucking hell, I'm knackered. Oh, I can't be fighting anyone." Just a
I feel like that
thought.
would just make the problem worse.
Would it? Or would they wake up in a bad mood and think, "I'm fucking fighting
Make
loads
it
of people"?
smell worse.
I mean,
Yeah.
generally, when you're tired, your body wants you to eat more to like make up for the fact that you didn't get enough rest. So I imagine that
Maybe.
we just do the same thing for them, right? Be like, "Fuck, I didn't sleep for the 5th day in a row. I'm starving."
Yeah. Maybe.
Hey, I was thinking of other things that would probably be in the safe because I don't have it listed. I think that we should make that I should make that a tab, not a tab, but either a tab or just like a checkmark box next to the items. But I'm going to reasonably guess that you guys are not carrying around your skeleton key. I'm just looking through items and I see that. Sorry to be off topic.
I thought that was like a group backpack thing.
I mean, it is in the group backpack for sure, but I didn't know if I mean, technically the infernal books are in the group backpack as well, or were.
Gotcha.
So,
So the safe is in the group backpack.
I mean, I
in a
think
way.
just the communal backpack lists all the items we have, and it's not
Yeah.
sorted. It's probably worth a column to figure out what's actually in the safe. But if we're talking about things that are in the safe or maybe in the safe, then I don't imagine you guys are carrying around the key with you. If you are carrying around the key, then that's fine too. But given how you've ostracized other potentially intriguing artifacts.
See, this is where you're wrong. They weren't intriguing.
I just figured those would not be there.
Oh. Maybe.
So I guess the question is, which avenue do we take first? I mean, among the several threads, obviously there's the hiring mercenaries. We just need a group collective on agreement on how many and who. So we'll say 1 to 5.
My first question is, when we're hiring mercenaries, what are we hiring them at? Like bands, groups? Like what's the scope of a hiring here?
Usually you guys hire when this price fee as listed is like I don't know military sizes very well. Like a group of 20 or so. They're like they're appropriately leveled for whatever mission you guys send them on, but since the guild collects the same fee whether it's for a like a minor mission or a heavy mission, and they just staff appropriately.
So that few people will be somewhere between a patrol or a platoon.
Yeah, I think I originally said like a platoon. I don't know what that is. 25, 50?
26 to 50,
Okay.
basically.
So, that's how many is the cost in that fee. And it's for 2 weeks.
Where was the money cost listed on those?
If you go to mercenary prices, it's in affiliations on Roll20.
It took me way too long to find it, but I finally found it.
Yeah, I could have dug through it and found it, but I'm like, I'm just gonna ask.
Why don't we send another group of the guys that we've got out there, a group of assassins, and somebody with like the Southern Witches, they have like Healy bits, and apparently they specialize in recon, and so maybe they could like figure out the higher rank problems out there and send the assassins to go and deal with those problems.
The prices are listed in. That's for 2 weeks, right? I'm not misunderstanding that.
No,
Okay.
that's for 2 weeks. You are correct.
Okay. And okay. So notice there's not general descriptions for a lot of these. Oh no, I'm dumb. I misunderstood. I definitely want to send out more House. Like, can we double up on House of Champions and then send a thing of Southern Witches?
You can do whatever you wish.
So in my mind, right now we just need to keep it reinforced and clean it up. I feel like we hire the Southern Witches now to get us some info, and then we need to assess this in 2 weeks. We'll have more information so we can better figure out who to send out. We definitely want to send another set of House of Champions and a set of Southern Witches. I don't know if we should send a third, and if we should, who it should be. I'll ask, when we pay these people money and we send them out, are we building any sort of like not reputation, but like relationship between our group and theirs?
Yes. Sorry, so I haven't adjusted. I realized I hadn't adjusted these. So familiarity brings, for every mission that you send one of these guys out on, their like gold piece price is reduced by 50, which isn't a little bit, but that adds up over time. And you also gain the opportunity to, if you'd like to talk to the group on different things, or like maybe cash in your political capital, if you want to call it that, for later on, saying, hey, we've employed you for lots of different jobs, maybe you could help us out by, I don't know, like leaning a vote in our favor, or etc. etc. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We could also send in some mountain men as a third, because they are muscle and recon as well.
That's fair. So, okay. Start with this. We're all in favor of sending more House of Champions, right? Like that one's just like an auto include.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm thinking Southern Witches and maybe one other. I feel like the Southern Witches being able to do the recon plus analyze what's going on is going to give us the best information about how to handle the tear. So I feel like they're also basically an auto include, and just becomes what do we want to do with a third, if we want a third group, and if so, who.
Well, my vote is on sending the mountain men as a third.
Do we need 2 groups of people doing recon? I don't know.
No, their primary thing is muscle though.
True.
Assuming these are listed in order of importance.
Yes.
Okay.
So primary and then secondary.
Oh, book.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, we don't necessarily need another high risk muscle group of House of Champions. Like, we could send one, but I don't necessarily know that it's necessary. So, probably reasonable. Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm with Halbjorn. It's okay, Lene.
We've got Southern Witches and House of Champions and Muscleman. Oh man, I just see your message. I was like, what is she talking about? Like, she's just going, she's not even paying attention to half of this. Okay, so it is 221. And how do you guys go about issuing these contracts or getting these contracts? Do you send them out in like a letter to them? Do you teleport and go talk to them personally? Do you know?
I feel like we go personally because this is important and we want to build relationships with these people. So in my mind, we go from one to the next.
Same. Also, we're potentially sending these people to their deaths. Might as well show up in person to do so.
I like the diplomatic use of the word potentially.
Well,
Not
Some
inevitably.
of them will probably survive.
Yeah. Hey, I've just thought, is there any way that we can pay them in a check that they have to cash?
Wow, Pete, that is the cheapest thing I've heard anyone say in a long time.
It's cheap, but it's good. What do you think?
Yeah, it is pretty good, honestly.
You have to fucking cash the check on return. Fabulous. No, you're right.
Okay, so I'm assuming you guys teleport down there then,
Yeah.
and you hold on. I need to reboot Roll20 because for some fucking reason everything was working fine, and then all of a sudden I pull up locations or different maps, and it's awful. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm currently experiencing technical difficulties. I will be moving the map shortly.
Sorry, guys. Apparently, I am brain dead.
Look at you flaunting the fact you have a brain. Wow. Wish I had a brain.
I'm sure the wizard might be able to help you out with that and give you some kind of certificate,
It's true. But who's getting the heart? That's what I want to know.
Well, I already have a few of those lying around, so I don't really need it. I mean, you could have it too if you wanted.
Yeah. Might make a pretty decent meal, so I'll take it, sure.
Okay.
So 2, obviously the Mountain Men and the House of Champions are in the same town. The wonderful city of Briar Creek. Large, vast city. The other 3 main trade states, the population tops out at somewhere in the nature of, or in the neighborhood of like 5 million people. Roughly 75% of the population is employed by one of the 3 guilds in town. All 3 of these guilds are known to be fairly reputable. Some of them are a little more willing to do dirtier work or things like that, but as opposed to like clear dichotomies between good and evil and lawful and neutral, or lawful and chaotic. These guys mostly steer towards the top part of the 9 cubes. So which do you guys have a preference? Which you guys go to first?
No preference. Whoever's closest.
Walking through the portal emerges you in this sort of center area of town, and it's just off of what you would see in this picture is this large castle, and that's this castle is representative of like where they do their government and where they do how things run. They have like guild ambassadors who go here and different I would say it's very Roman Republic-y sort of feel to it, except for medieval versus whatever age the Roman Empire was during.
Yeah.
The Roman age.
Yeah, the Roman age, of course. Yeah, you don't get to be that powerful and not have an age after you.
And what
so,
nation was number 69? That's what I want to know.
On a side note real quick. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with a policy called lockout tagout. But if you're not, I'm sorry.
I am actually.
Yeah.
Nope.
So basically, when you go to work on a machine, then they want to make sure that you put a physical lock on and whatever de-energizes the machine or de-energizes the piece of equipment you're working on. Generally speaking, it's only one person who's putting on a lock, like the maintenance guy, right? But every once in a while, we do like a group event where, like production will lock it out, and the supervisor will lock it out, and maintenance will lock it out, and safety will lock it out, and we do like a deep dive on a machine, right? Okay, so for a while, we just had these they're called HACCP callers, and they have like an extra, basically it looks like a hook that when you put it together, it has lots of places that you can put in a lock, and then it won't move. Well, they went to a new system where they put one single lock on the piece of equipment that de-energizes something, and then they put the key for this lock inside a box, and then the box itself is locked by different locks. Okay. I don't know why we decided to go that way or whatever. But I found out last night that the box where the gang of people lock into is called a gang box. And I died laughing during our safety meeting yesterday. Yes. A gang box.
That's almost as bad as prison wallet.
Anyway, so you're in this center of political power essentially, and you walk through the portal, and it sort of like fizzles and crackles when you get to the other side. You look down around, and this looked to be at one point like a very well working teleportation circle. In the same way the ones you guys have that's well constructed, looks all pieced together. This looks like more one that was used maybe some centuries ago, but now is almost more like just a, I don't know, like a residual connection. So, you're not, just as a reference, it's not 100% possible that you're going to be able to spring back through it. It looks to be at about like 50% working order.
Jesus, sorry. Okay, no.
And when you say working order, does that mean like the magic's gone or it's damaged?
Like the device itself or the circle itself, however you want to look at it, is damaged.
Okay. Well, Halbjorn's gonna stay behind then and just cast mending the whole time the group's hiring people on the circle. 1 square foot at a time.
So while Halbjorn's mending, you guys make your way to the House of Champions. We'll start there. You go in, and this is much larger than the guilds that you guys, you guys have been here once before, but it's been a little bit. So just to refresh your memory, the guild is much bigger than, like obviously they have a main building for the guild, but it's almost like a part of town. That all these people in this sector of town work for the guild at certain levels. Like they have their own housing, they have their own. This is like their own little borough, essentially, of town. And there's a lot of old style strength contests and a lot of like people in scantily clad armor doing jousting or other physical shows of force. And even in the guild inside the main guild building, there's a lot of people practicing and training and that sort of thing, right? So when you come in, then they, person shows you to the front, and they recognize you guys from before, having had this original contract, and they say, since this is your second time with us, we've offered you a discounted price of 50 gold pieces off. If you continue to take jobs, if you continue to pick us as one of your, job servicers, then we'll continue to knock that price down. So they say, do you have another job for us? And if so, where? And I assume you guys hand them a contract of some sorts? Or speak to them about writing up a contract saying, hey, we know we have a contract that's about to expire with you. We want you to send more guys for another 2-week span, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, I think.
And they're happy to do it. You go to the same. They're like, we'll send them to the same place. Like if you need any more, or if you require any more of our services, just let us know. They're very, very cordial about the whole thing. When you guys make your way to the Guild of the Mountain Men, if there's, I would say, are there any residual questions you guys want to ask them? No takers? Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So, you guys go to the Mountain Men Quarter Borough, whatever you want to look at, and it's different. I would say these guys are much more ranger sense, what people would traditionally think of as a ranger.
Homeless people.
Who hide in the back of bars and drink and smoke by themselves. Yes. So there's a lot more foliage in this section of town. There's kids playing in trees. Maybe they're doing more dexterous events than just feats of strength. There is still a lot of physical strength, things going on. And even their main guild building is very, it has a lot of the same qualities as the House of Champions, but it's much more earthy. So while the training before may have been, like bows shooting into a haystack, this would be bows shooting into a tree. Or instead of guys, like seeing how like the biggest weights they can carry and stuff like that, it's guys throwing logs and that
Is
sort
it like
of.
Is it the difference between Ivan Drago training in Rocky 4 and Rocky training in Rocky 4? If you've seen Rocky 4.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And so they say hello, they're happy to see new customers, and at some point or another you guys had some communication with them, so they're familiar with you guys, and you guys have risen in popularity, so they're generally familiar with what you guys have been doing or whatever. I assume you guys go to the front, ask for a contract, same spiel. Hey, this is where we want you to send these guys. This is what they'll be doing, yada, yada, yada. Anything I'm missing out? Extra yada?
No, that sounds good to me.
And so, you pay them and they say, if you come back, we'll, charge you less. We'll, it's a continuing service fee. If you have any questions or if you need anything else, please let us know. We're happy to help. Otherwise, it goes very routinely. There's not much besides the like aesthetic differences, and there's not really a big difference between these two groups that you can tell much of. One's a little more straightforward and one's more like guerrilla tactics, but same thing, they're all about going to war. So the question is now, do you guys try and go back to the portal, use that, or use some other teleportation method that I know you guys have, to get over to Maupai, or do you travel by foot?
Okay, first we go see if Halbjorn's had any success with the portal.
So you guys go back to check on the portal, and it looks like Halbjorn's done the repair work. It looks in considerably better shape than when you guys went through. But when you try to use the portal, activate the magic within it, it sort of fizzles and it warbles a little bit, and then it spits out and kind of like, I would say like makes a smoke cloud sort of thing, like any traditional cartoon where the car stops and you have the smoke rising from the engine.
Halbjorn's gonna kick the portal. Try it again.
And this time it just fizzles. It doesn't even smoke this time.
Fuck.
That was
Is
a good
there-
attempt.
Is there any way we can turn this thing off and turn it back on again?
Okay, so why don't you make an Arcana check?
Oh boy, I'd love to. Let me open my character sheet though. Come on. Skidoo.
Okay, so
Oh wow.
yeah, I know. Look at that. So you give it a look over, and you see something that kind of indicates you need some sort of like stone or like focus or something to like jumpstart, to like give it direction. Like the magic's there, but it doesn't know where it's supposed to go.
Would a spellcasting focus work?
It's possible. It's hard to. And the word literally translates to lodestone.
Well, in that case, I guess we should go asking around town.
We can just say fuck it, and I can just port us to where we need to be.
Well, sure, but it'd be nice to have this thing working.
We could just go talk to someone and let them know, hey, this shit's broken. It's not our portal, it's broke, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, we don't have to spend all day doing it, but we should at least try to get it up and running now that we know what the issue is.
Sure.
So there are other people in the court, you know, kind of like looking at you guys a little weird, you know, like as people walk by. Like this is in a main kind of courtyard area. So you see people walking by, and finally, you know, some tall, bigger looking guy. He is. Hold on.
You can't make me.
He's a tall Goliath looking guy. He's carrying a lot of a lot of armor. I mean, he's even, I would say he's at least a head above Halbjorn. You know, this is a big, huge looking dude. And he finally stops by and he says, you know, like, what you guys doing? You know, like looking at you guys all funny, like, what's going on here?
Halbjorn's gonna point at the circle and tell him we're trying to fix this. You don't suppose you'd happen to have a lodestone in hand, would you?
And he kind of like cocks his head like he doesn't exactly know what you mean. And he says, that thing
I think
broken
that's
for a
slang
long
for it.
time.
Right.
He says, that thing been broken for a long time. I
Well,
don't know no
it's-
lodestone.
I fixed it. All we need is a lodestone to get it working. Do you know anybody who might have a lodestone? Any big brain people?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I mean, I would start with any brained people would probably be a good enough question, but
I don't know. Mongo doesn't have no brains at all.
when he punched a fucking horse,
Well, yeah,
the horse deserved it, to be fair, but still.
yeah.
So he kind of thinks about it for a second, scratches his bald head,
And
and
scratches his balls for a moment, and I'm like,
Well,
scratches his bald head for a moment. And then he says, you know, he says he don't know what a lodestone is. He says, but that thing not work for a long time.
Do you know anybody that might know about this?
And he says, oh yeah, big brain people up in the Senate. You know, he was like, me don't go over there. Me solve problems
Okay.
with swords, not words.
Understandable.
Good for you, buddy.
Thanks for the info, though. We're gonna go ahead and talk to the Senate.
What-
See if
what
they
does
can get
he-
this thing working.
what does he look like, this guy, other than just big
I'm bald.
and bald?
He's
So go
big,
ahead.
bald. He's got tattoos over parts of his head and going down his neck. You see on what parts of his arms that aren't heavily armed, that there are tattoos on there as well. He carries a huge sword, like the biggest great sword you've ever seen in your entire life. This thing
Right.
looks like it would be. This thing is probably taller than at least. I would say the sword's probably taller than Aelin,
Right.
and probably like a foot wide. The armor he's wearing is made out of. It looks to be like some sort of dragon skin. It's still very heavy though, and you can see like dragon bones that have been woven in with the leather, with the dragon leather.
Are you saying that we could weaponize? What I just got from that was that we could potentially weaponize Aelin.
The fact that she has a couple of swords and likes to hit people with them anyways doesn't it that makes no never mind.
We'd just be accelerating the process. Get it? +2 Aelin with reach. Nice.
Otherwise, I would say the only other like noteworthy thing is that on his sword there are lots of runes on the sword. You know, like in a couple different spots just above the hilt. As well as on his armor, you know, there looks like a rune on one of his pieces of armor, and on his boots, on his gauntlets. He's he's bejeweled up, you might say.
Somebody got fancy with the bedazzler.
Yep.
This wouldn't happen to be a NPC that we should be trying to recruit, is he?
I mean, it's possible that there is someone who fits a similar description in the NPCs.
Yeah, why don't we ask him his name?
He says, "Me shield breaker. Me break shields."
So Shieldbreaker is your name?
I call myself shield breaker.
Oh, right. So, okay.
We would have heard about him outside of this, right?
Yeah, for sure. Him saying that name makes you remember this is like the what would I say, like the commander or like the head guildsman, however you want to look at it, of the House of Champions. Clearly about as smart as a box of rocks, but also huge and intimidating. If huge
Oh,
things
yeah,
intimidated you.
I've just seen this fucking picture.
Well, it's really nice to meet you, Shieldbreaker. We're no agency. We're in from out of town.
He says, "Oh, I heard of you." He says, "You kill big undead."
Yeah, that guy.
He says, "Me no like undead. They're harder
Yeah,
to
we didn't
cut."
like him either.
They were abominations.
That and he smelled bad.
He said, "And fish no taste good. Me don't understand how people eat fish."
Have you ever had
Yeah.
catfish?
Oh, what is wrong with you?
Catfish are
agree with-
like river nuggies.
They're also fucking cockroaches in fish form.
Well, so are
Mm,
shrimp, but
And
I'll
say
throw down
lobster as
shrimp.
well.
Yeah, but I don't eat any of that either.
I'm
Shrimp and
sorry
prawns,
to hear
aren't
that. Oh yeah,
Yeah, similar.
they?
crawfish. I don't care what it is.
If it comes in a shell, you're gonna eat it.
Yeah, and it comes from the water, like the deep water.
Yeah.
I need no bugs.
Okay. Well, that's basically what you're eating is bugs.
But they're deep sea bugs, and that makes it okay.
Exotic because they're from under the ground.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, why don't we ask this guy if he's doing anything? See if he wants to
Shield
tag along with
breaker.
us for a while. Maybe we can
Yeah,
find
Mr.
some
Shield
shields from him
Breaker.
to break.
Shield breaker. How do you feel about slavers?
He says it depends. Are slaves bad people or good people?
Typically,
I think
I mean,
we may not agree politically with this chap. Right, some
Slavery
differences.
as an institution is unjust. Though you could make certain exceptions for, you know, having criminals work off their sentences. However, that is not what we're going. This is
Could you
not
though?
what we're talking about right now.
So basically, slavery is okay if you just put it under the banner of
Indentured servitude.
the penal system.
Yeah. What do you
As it
expect?
stands
I'm
right
an
now.
American.
1870, here we are.
You know,
But the slavers we're going after are guilty of capturing innocent people
Good
and
people.
selling them into slavery, probably to feed the terror. You've heard about that, right? The literal rip in the fabric of reality that's spewing forth abominations and fiends.
I'm gonna guess that this is beyond him.
He says, I think I sent men there. He says,
Oh,
some come back.
Yeah, it's rough there, so I've heard. Well, the people we're going after are guilty of feeding that, we think. Anyway, they're bad people.
He says, he scratches his head again and he says, you're not sure. Are you going there now? Are you going to tear now?
No, we're not going to the chair. Tell you what, could you just point us in the direction of the Senate, and we'll be on our way. It's nice talking to you.
It's really nice to meet you.
He says, upstairs, round corner, he says, you hear it right away. Everyone talk, 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 talk.
Yeah, we'll shut him up. Thanks for the help and the insights. Take it easy now, bud. He's gonna walk off.
So after that beautiful, beautiful conversation with Shieldbreaker, you guys make your way up and around. And sure enough, you get up the stairs and around the corner, and there's this large hall, where you have lots of different groups, talking over each other. It's very, like trade market floor meets I don't know, like high school cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the when you guys start getting close to the to the doors. Someone comes out and says, I'm sorry you can't come in. They're in session right now. Like, how can I help you? Are you looking for a specific senator? What can we do for you today?
We need a lodestone to fix your teleportation circle.
And the guy kind of like looks at you weird, and he says, "You mean the like 500-year-old teleportation circle out in the courtyard?" He was like, "Does that even work?"
It's all I spent several hours mending it, and after looking at it, I realized that all it needs is a lodestone to be functional again.
He says, well, maybe, he's hawing around, and he says, "Why don't you guys follow me this way?" And he walks out, and he walks down this long hall with you guys, and he finally gets to this room, and you see a lot of like ancient artifacts. Most of these relics that are in here are at least older than Aelin. Several. She's 100 something, right? No? Oh no, you're half elf, not full elf. I forgot. I forgot. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I called you really old there
She's
for a
not
second.
that old.
Oh man, I feel really bad. So these relics are
Don't
probably
worry.
at least 200 years old, up to somewhere in like the 400 or 500 year range. And then all the way towards the back, there's this small case that has a little like glowing, like I would say almost prismatic ingot. Like when you look at it straight on, it looks, I would say, silverish. But when you like turn it at an angle through a light, or you look through how like a corner would be, it's like looking through a translucent prism. And he says, "I'm not like," he's like, "This is the oldest artifact we have." He was like, "They found it originally near the teleportation circle." He was like, "But like this thing's been up here since this was built. So maybe," he was like, "the technology is supposed, like the circles were originally built for supposedly built by Fiona, and she, it's how she used to get around." He was like, "But you know how old wives' tales go."
No kidding. Fiona, huh?
He says, "Yeah, but that's just some legend. What chances are there that Fiona herself built all these portals, right?"
How everyone's going to get his notebook out and just ask her?
What do you ask her? "Did you build this?"
He's gonna tell her that he's repaired the. He's done his best to repair the teleportation circle in. I forget the city we're in, and that all he needs to repair it is a lodestone. And he's going to ask if it's true that she built all these, and also, any advice to get it fixed.
Just fuck her already. Jesus.
Trying to get on that real old gilf.
Does she have grandkids? Gosh, she probably has so many fucking kids.
She's got to have like great grandkids at this point.
At least.
So she just writes back. She's like, "Humans are idiots." She's like, "Take the stone from the reliquary, put it in the center," and she's like, "and then like give it a step off the portal, and it should just pop up." She was like, "Nobody understands this shit that I made."
All right, he's going to just write back. All right, thanks. And tell the guy, yeah, I need that lodestone.
And this sort of I would say like a bailiff sort of person says, like, here you go ahead. Like, he's like, I want to go with you though to see if this thing works. He was like, because this is sort of like a joke in the first place. Like, I don't know where you guys are from, but this thing has been here for, as I said, hundreds of years, and no one's used it before. So, like,
Well,
I want to
just
see
got
if this
it.
powers up.
I just got it from Fiona herself that all I need to do is put that thing in the center, and it'll do its thing. Honestly, I'm surprised you guys have let us near this thing in the first place.
He's
But,
like,
by all
honestly, we
means,
didn't
come
know
with
it
us.
worked. Like, at this point, this bailiff, from an outsider view, this bailiff doesn't know that you guys just walk through this portal. No one has seen someone walk through it before.
Oh yeah. Well, he's
So
gonna
no
be
one
mighty
saw us
surprised when
come
we
in.
leave.
I mean, the people on the ground definitely did, and there was like a rumor,
Okay.
but again, you know how rumors are. So,
Oh yeah.
it's sort of like its own little legend at this point. Hey, I saw someone come through the portal. Bullshit, you didn't. And you saw Bigfoot out there in the fucking boonies too.
Damn. Get fucked.
I mean, didn't you just see him walk through town? I mean, he was fucking shaved, but that was still Bigfoot.
So I assume you guys go back to the portal, and sure enough, right there in the center, there's this little spot where this ingot would just drop in, and it's slightly, how do I say, disappointing that no one in centuries has even tried to do this, even though it was found near the portal in the first place. But surprisingly, he dropped the spot in. Lo and behold, the portal. You guys take a step off, and the portal sort of like, I would say it almost like it warms up. Like you can see the magic flowing back into the runes that make this teleportation circle, and everything starts lighting up. It's literally like you just flipped on a switch, and now everything's coming back. You connected the circuit. Oh, well, everything worked just like it was supposed to. And this bailiff guy is just shocked. He's like, "What the fuck?" And so he starts like pulling off randos who are just walking by. He was like, "Did you know this thing worked?" Like, and by the time that you guys are ready to step through, it's just like, it's just that you have a large crowd around, like, what the fuck? And so I assume you guys, being the skittish people that you are, just walk through the portal, and they're like, "Deuces," right?
Badasses don't look at explosions. But as Halbjorn walks through, he's gonna look back at the bailiff and he's just going to say, "Now this is power," and walk through. No explanation.
And so there's this. You guys walk through into this portal, and you're in this sort of, I would say, like, bubble. I would say almost like a bubble universe momentarily. And like a book, is, you just see this completely blank space, just bright, but a blank floor as far as you can see, from as far as you can see in any direction. And there's a little pedestal, and it has a book, and you can it lists these different portals, and all of them minus the one in your tower has like a little question mark next to it. But you can see there's one for every major establishment on the known world. But they all have lots of question marks, or maybe there's like a scribble or an X next to them or something like that. Most of the system doesn't seem to have used in quite some time. And there are directions on another page that say, and it just says like, circle your destination. So I assume you guys head to Mapai next. Is that correct?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So you guys head to Mapai, and you circle that, and next thing you know, you're in a very similar but different scenario. You have the town set up in a very similar way, except for contests of strength have been replaced by intellectual discussions about philosophy and understanding the natural world around people. And then, of course, there's always the, circle of life group who may or may not deal with dead bodies and whatnot. And you have a very similar setup, but it definitely feels very coven-y, I guess is how I would put it. And you guys walk through and find yourself in a very similar situation as before. The portal kind of fizzles when you guys walk through it, and you see that this portal too is in great disrepair.
So basically, everybody has like just screwed up their portals.
Sounds like it, yeah.
How we
They
gonna
didn't perform
get to
basic
work?
maintenance. Do we see an obvious gap in the floor where there should be something?
And you see that uncovered where this gap had been before. It's like there is a gap, or there is a spot where it looks like the lodestone would go as on the other one. But this one is like the lodestone is very much still in it. The rock that forms the teleportation circle is in much worse condition, but luckily the lodestone's intact.
Oh, good.
How do you want to get on it?
He's already on it.
So why Halbjorn works on that? You guys make your way into the town, and you head over to the Southern Witches, and just outside of there, you come across your friend Nina. She says, hello, like, how are you guys? Like, good to see you. What are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, we're in town to talk to the Southern Witches Guild.
She says,
We're
okay.
gonna-
Sorry.
That's okay. We're gonna see about hiring up someone of the guild.
She says, oh, perfect. Like, that's great. Here, let me show you the way. And she leads you to this, I would say this looks like a sapling of a normal tree compared to, sequoia. That's the big tree in California, right?
Yep.
So, as a regular small sapling like a couple year sapling is to a great sequoia tree, then a sequoia tree is to this tree that you guys see upon. And it's got like a door, it's like a house, it looks like a building, but it's a tree. Harlan, you should feel very at home here.
I mean, is there snow everywhere?
Well, minus the snow part. You know, not
No, if you're
everywhere.
at home.
Not everywhere can be snowy. We don't live at the North Pole.
And whose fault is that?
So you go in and you know instead of a normal receptionist, front desk person, however you want to look at it, that you guys come across, it's you come across a little floating, you come across the desk and there's like a floating spirit cat on this table. And the cat meows, but when it meows, you can understand what it's saying. And, you know, gives you the same spiel saying, hey, you know, like, what are you doing here today? And, you know, how can I help you? I assume you guys go through and ask for a contract and whatnot. You know, same setup as the last two, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, you know, the cat grabs this contract and runs off into the back with it and comes back and, you know, it's got a seal of approval and says, you know, okay, like we'll send out people right away.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So, you know, after you get done with that, then by looking around pretty closely, you see that Nina hasn't left the front door area. And so she waits for you guys to return on your exit and then walks back out with you guys and walks along with you and says, you know, what are you guys going to do now?
Well, we're gonna go back to the portal and see if Halbjorn's made any progress there, and probably run a few more errands before heading home.
She says, okay, you know, that's great. If she says, you know, if you guys need anything, if you guys need any, have any special projects or whatever, you know, just let me know. Like I'm happy to help.
Thank you. And how have you been, Nina?
She's like, oh, good. You know, just kicked out of the guild. Good though. Good.
Oh no. What happened? If you want to talk about it.
She's like, well, I wasn't kicked out of the guild. She was like, but I did have a place in the you know, in the main coven, in the like ruling coven, and I didn't see eye to eye on the path the rest of the group should take, and so I was unanimously voted out.
Huh. And what direction did you not agree with?
She's like, well, the like the coven has agreed to a sense of neutrality. Like we're not going unless outside of accepting jobs to go and solve the problems at the tear and the other problems that are rising up within the world. Even though we have the resources, then the majority of the coven voted in favor of remaining neutral to all disputes and to just continue, I don't know, I want to say like following the money. And I didn't really agree with that. So I may have called them bitter old biddies and a few other things that shouldn't be said um, in polite conversation. And well, didn't set well with a lot of people, and so I have been trying to not go into the main area anymore.
That's understandable. Do you have a plan going forward?
She's like, well, I'm still a member of the guild, so I still take jobs and they still hire me and stuff like that. But as far as upwards movement goes, or like, I don't know if you want to call it like life goals or something like that, she's like, I'm much more of a free spirit than I was before. Like I'm not very tied down to our guild's way of thinking, our guild's general, like right now before was like a career path, I guess if you want to say that, and now it's more of a job.
That's fair. Totally understandable. I'm sorry to hear about the difficulties, but I do appreciate your stance on that.
She says, well, like I'm a firm believer that if we can do more to help, we should do more to help. And we can do more to help, but we're not going to because that might upset the flow of nature and blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
Okay. Sounds like it might upset the flow of incoming money, but
She's like, well, I mean, the group's philosophy is that someone will win and someone will always need our services. So does it really matter who pays us? I don't know.
That's fair. Why can't I can't spell ruling, but I can spell governing. Uh, yeah, okay. Anyways. Well, do you have any passion projects that you're doing at the moment? Following?
She's like, not at the moment. The last project that I had the most fun working on actually was working on deciphering the runes at the tower, and that worked. She was like, that was the most fun I'd had in ages.
Well, I'm sure that if you were to want to come and spend some time with us and,
And
tag
she's
along with
just
some of our.
she just snaps her fingers and was like, okay, I have my bags ready to go. She's like, let's go. I'm done with these bitches. Let's go.
Okay, well, let's go see how Halbjorn's doing with the portal.
So you guys return to the portal. Halbjorn's patched it up really well, and he gives a little final tap, on the lodestone, and steps away, and the whole thing lights up again, and you can see several of the witches are like, not the witches, but several of the different mages are like peeking out from around corners, and they're very interested in what's going on. Once again, this is something that a huge piece of magical technology that somehow has been overlooked for hundreds of years.
In an area that is just populated by magical people.
Indeed. They're like, man, and like half of them are like, oh, this is so cool. Like, we've never seen something like this before. And then the other half are like, I've been an elf for 700 years and I never once thought to put that shit back together. So there's a good range in between those.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I imagine you guys all step onto the portal, walk through.
Yeah.
And once again, you guys go to this open space, and there's this there's this book before you on this pedestal, and now the question mark has been has disappeared from next to Mapai, and there's still other question marks next to all the a lot of other cities, but now there's no longer one next to Hiseki Mek, Mapai, or Briar Creek.
It looks like the question marks mean that the portals have been broken. Just gonna state the obvious there. You guys want to go make this a day of repairs?
Might as well.
As long as we got other people hired, sure.
Yeah. I mean, so we got the 3 going. Was there anything else that we needed to do for guild-wise and sending off people to the tear?
No, I think we got the 3 that we set out for.
Okay.
So these portals, how big are they? Or these teleportation circles, rather.
I would say, okay, so the one in your base is a much smaller version. I would say it's a 5-foot radius circle.
Okay.
These ones are much bigger. They're more like, I would say, probably a 15 feet, 15-foot radius of a circle. So about 3 times larger.
So we could use these to rapidly deploy people around the country once we get these
Yeah.
teleportation circles fixed up.
I will say that it will be inherently problematic. We're going to need to make sure we keep control of these and don't let other people get access to them.
Well, I don't think that they can use it to get to us.
My point is more, imagine how much easier it gets to wage war when you can literally just portal your entire army from point A to point B.
That's a good point. So honestly, I kind of figured that after we take over Mech, we were probably gonna I don't know, try to consolidate power across the country. Do something like that, Especially
Okay,
with,
let's not go too dictator here.
Hang on. Especially with what we know now about Fiona's plans for the Queen and our dear Ciela. That's going to leave a power vacuum.
Okay, you just made me think of Pinky and the Brain. Well, what are we gonna do now? The same thing we do every night. Try and take over the world.
But that is a good point, though.
What can the harm be about activating a whole bunch of portals and people just walking through whatever they want?
Well,
it'll increase commerce, trade, good philosophy ideas.
How big are this? You know the stone things
Mm-hmm.
you have to put in place. How big are they?
They are only about 2 inches by 3 inches, and maybe like
literally like a key. I mean, I don't mean like a key, but what I mean is you could carry it around in your pocket.
Correct.
And then you could just plug it. Right. Now, is it possible to copy them? Is there any way of copying one of those so that you could or not? Is that a stupid? I mean, I'm not. It's not
No,
a
no,
stupid
no,
question, it's just a
no.
question, but
That's a fairly good
yeah,
question. I think it would
I'm
take.
just
I'm sorry.
I'm just thinking that as long as that thing isn't there, no one else can use it. Like no one else can use these portals unless they've got effectively what I'm now going to refer to for the rest of my sentence as a key, right? We could all have a bunch of keys for these portals. We could fucking fly about all over the place or send anyone we wanted to, but no one else could use them.
But it
Do
would
you know
be
what I
left
mean?
behind after we used it.
Unless we use them in tandem with each other
Okay.
in
But
some way,
here's an
shape, or
idea.
form.
What if we were able to make disposable, as in one-time use simulacrums?
Yeah. What? Yeah, like ones that somehow like dissolved on use.
Yeah.
Or even if we set a mechanism up that would destroy the key on use.
Well,
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
on that note, it actually developed quite nicely because I was going to say the materials required to make a functioning, let's say, a master key
Yeah.
on the key analogy. To make a master key, the ingredients required to build it and the tools and the person who would need, and like the artisan who would need to craft this would be significantly more difficult than finding an artisan who could make a clay key. Does that make sense? Like a one-time
Yeah.
use sort of thing.
Oh, so it'd be easier to craft a one-time use key than it would to craft a permanent one.
Correct.
Oh, right,
Because
that's all right then.
it only has to it only has to sustain the magic of the teleportation circle once versus the lodestones that you've put in so far can support an infinite number of teleportations.
Okay, cool.
What happens
So we
if
could get a
eat
load
one
of
the
like
lodestones?
we could get a load of burner keys made effectively. That we could just we're certainly good for escaping places. Whatever.
I have silly brain because you said that's great for escaping places, and I went,
Well, I didn't
haha,
escape.
you can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
But
So
if we
how
were
do
the
we
only
go?
people, oh, go on, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to basically go back to what Juff was saying about, because Juff was, I presume you were worried about the idea that if we suddenly reactivate all these portals, then we may actually be setting ourselves up for the fall.
Yeah.
But if we wouldn't necessarily have to protect the portals themselves, we would just have to protect the keys.
Yeah.
Which would make it probably easier.
Yeah, I agree. That would definitely make it easier.
And then the bonus being if we could do keys that were disposable, like John said, then it might help the way it'd be a bit safer anyway, the way we use them. We're not going to get people following us through things.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Which
And
brings
so
me back
what
to
kind
what
of-
I was gonna.
Go ahead. Okay, what kind of person do we need to make these disposable keys?
You need a blacksmith.
Cool.
Okay. Do we have one?
Not currently.
We can hire
whoever
one.
has proficiency with blacksmithing tools, that helps. But hiring one would be the better scenario.
Yeah, I was gonna say it definitely, like, time wise, it's gonna be relatively the same versus like creating a master key versus creating the clay key. However, the material difference is where it comes into play. Time wise, it's going to take the same amount of time to make a shit key as it is to make a really good key.
Yeah.
It's still a key at the end of the day.
What were you gonna, John? What were you gonna say that we kept butting into every time you started your sentence?
I was gonna say that. So then that brings to mind the question: what are we gonna do about these lodestones? Are we just gonna go back and confiscate these?
and ensure that we are the only ones who can use them, or are we going to approach the leadership in each town? Maybe not the leadership as in, the political power, but whatever guild's in charge, if we can trust them. Be like, hey, we fixed your portal. This right here allows it to function. Keep it locked up until you need to use it again.
Maybe we could just leave them one burner key. Maybe we could just leave them one store, and just say, right, it's a one-use thing. This you can use it in emergencies, but that's about it. Or does that make us look less trustworthy than not giving them a key?
I think that would make
Or
us
less trusting. Yeah.
Because they'd
Yeah,
be like,
that'll
well,
look
then why
good.
do you get to keep the keys? I would
Yeah,
say,
then we
why do
just
you get
go,
to keep
ha ha,
the
we're
keys?
better than you.
Because we're the main characters.
Yeah. Yes, it's our campaign. You're an NPC. Fuck off. And they go, oh yeah, of course.
I'm just talking an awful lot of shit for somebody using quick save distance.
Get up to the Cloud District often? No, but of course not.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know whether we should leave them a key. I don't know whether we should leave them with the stones or not.
Why don't we leave the ones that we know we can trust with a stone? Especially the ones that we've hired people from.
Okay, just because we hire them doesn't mean we know we can trust them.
No, it doesn't.
Dang it. I was really hoping no one would bring that up.
It means we trust them enough to hire them to do something for. We trust them enough to go squash some demons. That doesn't mean we trust them enough to have, fucking planar teleporters. Like, look how dumb the guy was from the fucking champions. You trust him to have access.
That is fair. That is entirely fair. We could just be real sneaky and fucking confiscate the stones.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anyone asks, we'll just go, what stones?
What stones?
Because they can't all be really particularly. I don't think there's a lot of joined up thinking going on because these things have been sat in these towns for centuries.
Like,
and nobody's got the fuckers working.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Sorry?
Nothing.
Lodestones. Sounds like a slang for a shit. Gotta go and drop a lodestone.
I may have stolen the reference from other material, as are all my repurposed materials.
That's the best way to be original, is
Yeah, exactly.
No,
imitation is the highest form of flattery.
It's the sincerest form of flattery. God damn it. I'm gonna steal. You can at least get it right.
But why would you want to get it right if you're taking it?
Well, because it's ours now, comrade. Just like these lodestones. So what do we do about this? We should at the very least fix them all up so that way, if we go somewhere and we have to dip, we can do so of our own power. Also, we should make sure that these lodestones are not. We should see if they're interchangeable with each other, or if they're destination locked.
That's true. Well, I've got an idea. And we'll just pretend something's happened to this. No, that's a shit idea. Sorry.
Wait, hold on. Why can't we just ask Fiona if they're location locked? She made them.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. How everyone's gonna do that?
So what do you ask her specifically?
Also, is that well? One before you do, is there another way of putting another level of security in it, like build something onto these, like some
Okay,
form
so
of, like you have to do a hocus pocus, fucking abracadabra 1 2 3, as well as put the lodestone in,
Yeah,
and that way there's a code, so no one else could use it, like a key code, but not a key code. You know, something a bit more D&D. Do you know what I mean?
we're out here like trying to figure out how to solve this ourselves. We can literally ask the person who made this. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
That's what I
we
mean, but
usually
when you
don't
ask them, I can
have
ask for that.
this.
But we do now, and we need to remember that we do.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power.
And so Halbjorn's going to write her back. Yes, these people are fucking stupid. He's going to ask her, are the lodestones for each teleportation circle specific to that circle? Also, is there a layer of security that we can activate or add to this to prevent unwanted usage?
And she writes back and she says, like, she says the like each lodestone is from a specially crafted material. Like it's not necessarily linked to a specific. It just activates the magic in and of itself. Like it's made of a special material, so that's why it's what do you say? So that's why it like it works. You know, like it literally just takes you to the other to the waiting place. Is how she describes it.
She sounds flustered.
That hurts.
Sounds like the Illuvions.
She also says that there is like additional security that can be added. She was like, it's, you know, it just requires the master lodestone. She was like, I'm not sure which portal I put that with.
Well, he's
a
going
bit
to
forgetful.
respond that we're going to make a day of repairing these teleportation circles. I'm certain we'll find it. If not, I will ask you.
She says, okay, like, let me know how that goes.
So we've got a bit of a problem here. If we have to leave a lodestone, right, we're going to have to get one lodestone copied, right?
Mhm.
And then we're going to have to use the disposable, well, the fucking burner key, I'll call it. We're going to use that so that we can take the lodestone from one of the portals to another portal and then try that lodestone in that portal. That way.
We could just take
Oh, no.
it from a random teleportation circle. Because, like I said, we've fixed the ones to the cities that we're hiring people from, so that way we can get around with no issue. And then we can just take one from the next city we go to, for example,
Yeah.
and use that to create burner keys.
Yeah, I suppose so. Okay, yeah. But they are interchangeable then.
Sounds like it.
Right, okay. That's
Speaking
fine.
of interchangeable, Halbjorn wonders if the rest of his party members can use the journal to speak with Fiona. Maybe he'll have them write her next, if they need to.
Yes.
Because it would be kind of weird if it was literally just him with this kind of power.
Yes. Tom Riddle's diary works as anyone who writes in the diary gets a response.
Cool. Does she know?
I think she would know different handwriting styles, but she gets the intent from them. So like if it were to fall into bad hands, for example, she would get the writer's negative intent when it sent her a message.
Okay. Jesse.
So then if the plan is to gather up lodestones, the question is where to go next. Is there a specific town you want to go to next?
Which one is closest to the Terrigan? Wasn't it Cherry Meadow?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where Halthorn's from, so yeah. Go to Cherry Meadow next, I guess. If anybody's alright with that.
No objections.
And it would make the most sense to remove that one's lodestone in case, there's a big push and critters get through. They can't just use the teleportation circle to spread across the country like a plague. They have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Like a plague.
Yeah. But a plague without air access or airplanes and shit.
Like good old bubonic on the back of rats.
Please. It was not the rats, it was the fleas.
The flats and the rees were working together. Fucking done. So Cherry Meadow, huh?
Let's do it.
Alright, let's down.
Let's go.
On the road again.
Life is a highway.
Mm.
I wanna... No? Okay.
Turn that record off, will you? What are you singing?
So, ooh, wow, these people are from a long time ago. Let's get rid of them. Okay, so sweet little town of Cherry Meadow. Considerably smaller than our previously mentioned trades towns. You got a general population of maybe about 500,000. That's funny. You pop out of this portal, and it's into the courtyard where Queen Elizabeth. Does that sound right? Why does that not sound right? Where?
Oh, it's listed as Elizabeth on the affiliations table.
Yeah, but is she queen? I don't know if that's super important, but it is to me. Duchess Elizabeth. Into her sort of courtyard. You have a very agrarian town here. And this, oddly enough, this portal is in generally good condition. There's just a small little piece missing. About 2 inches by 3 inches by about 2 inches thick. Would go right in the center of said magic circle.
The lodestone is missing.
It's the lodestone.
All right, then. I guess we need to go track it down.
Should probably start by, I don't know, maybe asking the people in charge of the city.
Yeah. Easiest place to start. IMO.
So you you make your way through. You make your way up into the castle proper, and there you come across Duchess Elizabeth. You guys have met her before. Fair-skinned, female elf, full blood. She looks, well, I don't know how you can tell how old elves are, but you know she's in her mid 400s. And she's got two attendants with her and a large bodyguard, just out of reach. And she finds you guys, and she says, you know, like, hey, you know, like I haven't seen you guys in some months. Like, what's going on? What are you guys doing in town? When did you get here? Like, where did you come from?
Halbjorn's going to, I guess, like, take a knee. Like, hello, Duchess. It's good to be back. We came through the teleportation circle. We were going around fixing them up. And this one is mixing the lodestone, the powers it. So we came here to see if maybe you might have any leads on this location.
She says, she's like, I may have some idea, you know, where the lodestone is. She says, but I'm not sure that I want you poking around where it possibly could be.
Any particular reason why?
She's kind of reluctant, and she looks at the attendants and like waves them away, and the bodyguard still stays, you know, just outside of reach for her. She says, I may have buried it with my dead husband.
Oh, fucking hell.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but that actually works out just fine for us because our intention was our intention had been to repair the portal here and hide the lodestone away, so that in case the forces at the Terrafall, the invading fiends and abominations, wouldn't be able to use Cherry Meadows' teleportation circle to invade other cities. Apologies if that sounded insensitive.
Well, that works out just great for us.
Sorry about your dead husband, but
Where's he buried, by the way, so we can leave some flowers?
hope it wasn't a recent thing.
He died yesterday.
She says, no.
She
She's
tell us-
like, no. He's been dead. He's been dead for 300 years. Like,
Oh,
he's been long gone.
oh, Jesus
Well, in
Christ.
that case, maybe his memory isn't quite so
Volunteer.
sacred anymore.
300 years. Surprised you can still remember you had a husband after 300 years, to be perfectly honest. Can she remember
Okay.
where she buried him?
Now you're just being rude.
No, I'm not. Just so we can leave some flowers or dig him up. Or...
Old corpsey.
Yeah.
She says there's a a cemetery on the edge of town near the water. She says he has the biggest tombstone there. Like, you'll find it there. She was like, just if you happen to come across the key, perhaps don't mention it to me that you came across it.
We will not come across it. I assure you.
We definitely won't dig him up.
Oh man, this feels like one of those ones in deception roll.
How Bjorn's being genuine.
Well, you know. Yeah, hang on. Halbjorn's been genuine. There's no intention of digging him up and getting the stone.
Yeah, because we don't. Mission accomplished. It's locked away somewhere. No one else knows where the fuck it is.
Yeah, well, she's not very secretive with the information. Someone only needs to go, oh, like, let's find out where that stone is and go and ask her. And
She
she'll say,
told us because we're the main characters.
I don't think we can use that as a fallback position for everything to work out.
I think we can though.
Yeah.
I think that if we were to have a conversation with her and say, you know, under the circumstances, it might be a good idea to not share that information with anybody else. Thank you for your discretion. Sorry about your husband.
Definitely don't say sorry about your husband. You don't want her to feel like we have empathy for people.
Hey, you're like 400 years old and the ruler of a town, but you're fucking stupid. Don't tell anybody about your dead husband and the lodestone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great idea.
That's true, yeah.
In the collective, nice way that I imagine you actually go across saying this.
Using those diplomatic skills that I supposedly have that I can't make up for with other fucking people in my party.
She says, you know, I haven't revealed this to anyone in some time. She was like, you know, it's been centuries since I revealed it to anyone, and you know, like the only reason people in the town even remember my husband was, you know, because of his statue, mostly. And anyone who's done a little history probably knows him for being one of the founding members of of the court. But beyond that, like, you know, no one's done this much research into him.
What can I ask? What was there any particular reason you buried the lodestone with him? What was why was that?
She said in his childhood that a woman gave him the stone and told my husband that he should take this stone and its secrets to his grave. And that was his last wish to me, and so I did as he wished.
Oh, you know what? Now, I'm not saying this to her, obviously, but she, you know, when she said there's a master stone and she can't remember which one it is.
Oh boy.
That's gonna be it, isn't it? It's gonna be with him because that's the one that she's told to take to the grave. So we're gonna have to dig him up anyway.
Yeah.
No, I don't even want to anymore. Does that dog just laugh?
Even the dog laughed
like,
at that.
was in the background for a minute then. Oh no, I think, but do you not agree that's probably where this is going to go?
Probably.
Most likely.
Yeah. Okay.
Our fearless heroes, now grave robbers.
Oh,
Not
God
yet.
damn
Next
it. I had to go
session.
make a liar out of him.
Yeah. I know. We don't have to lie if we pay some people to dig the grave. And then technically we've not lied, have we?
If we're gonna grave rob someone, we might as well do it ourselves. You know, have some.
I don't mind being a grave robber. I just don't want to be a liar. Right. Get someone else to operate the shovel.
I mean,
Yes.
technically,
The oldest of of crimes that quote unquote aren't real crimes. The the coin behind the hired hand.
True. You're not a murderer if you don't pull the trigger. Simple as that.
I mean, I understand that sentiment if you're British, right? You kind of had to deal with that for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
He's not a murderer. He didn't kill anyone.
Yeah.
And so, the Duchess excuses herself and she says, "I'm sorry, I have other businesses of state to take care of."
thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
We're gonna dig up your husband now.
That we're not saying that.
Not going to.
We're not going to tell her because she doesn't want to know.
That's true.
She did say, you know, she didn't want to know about it. Ah, boy, that's unfortunate. Well, at least we got that giant evil tower to live in, because Halbjorn's probably not going to be able to show his face in Cherry Meadow again. Unfortunate.
Is it though? Did you really want to live here?
Well, he was born here. It'd be nice to come back every now and then, say hi to his mom and pop.
He
Oh,
can still
yeah.
do that. It's not like he has to like fucking announce himself and be like,
No
"Oh,
way.
Halbjorn's in."
It is I,
Halbjorn-
a wanted grave robber.
Did Halbjorn's mum and dad live in Cherry Meadow?
Yeah, he's from Cherry Meadow.
Can we not go and visit them? Can we not go and have tea at Halbjorn's house?
I'm not role playing them.
Come on.
I want to go. Let's go and see Mr. and Mrs. Halbjorn. Find out what they're actually like, and we'll tell them loads of things you've got up to and see if they approve.
I wonder if they're giants like Halbjorn. He's like 7 feet tall.
No,
Yeah.
they're actually
Huh.
quite small.
Oh, right.
This is an elf
Did they steal you as a
situation.
baby?
I wonder if they live in a house where it's just full of broken pieces of things that they've smashed. And that's where he's learned to smash things, because that's all they do. We probably don't have time.
What? We have all the time in the world.
That's true.
You know what? Let's go out on a limb and say that they are brewers.
But that's why you're an alcoholic.
Well, you know.
Drank from the
Fine.
bottle at a young age.
Yeah. See, I was not born with a teat in my mouth. I was born with a whiskey bottle. Mead. Let's stick with the Nordic theme.
I drank whiskey when I was a kid, and I fucking hated it for the rest of my life. My dad drinks whiskey, and I drank some from one of his like a glass of his whiskey when I was really young, and I just can't stand it. Can't bear the stuff now.
Oh no,
It's horrible.
That's terrible.
Well, no,
that's
but- Mind
horrible.
you, I don't drink anyway now. But like when I did drink, I didn't fucking drink whiskey. It's awful.
My father was a raging alcoholic, and he used to like we had my dad used to literally drink whiskey out of like children's cups. We had a bunch of like I remember seeing my father drink whiskey out of sippy cups because he was an alcoholic. He wanted to hide that he was drinking booze. So
Oh,
we had a collection of like Looney Tunes, like little plastic mugs for children. At one point, I tried to grab. I had one of those sitting next to me, and my father was left-handed, and I was right-handed, so we had our drinks on opposite sides of each other. Like our drinks were next to each other. I accidentally grabbed his, so drinking on the same side of cup, and took a drink of his fucking Southern Comfort, and almost threw up.
Oh, God.
Isn't that how all the classy drink their drinks in Looney Tune sippy cups?
Yeah, so
No, is that just me?
I mean, those weren't sippy cups, but he used to drink out of sippy cups. Those were just like little plastic glasses. Yeah, I don't drink at all now because my family is just full of raging alcoholics.
right.
That's fair.
So I suppose in actuality, instead of visiting Halbjorn's family, we go to the cemetery. Is that correct?
Well, dig some graves. All right. Yeah.
Well,
You should probably wait till it's dark.
You're gonna go for the
It's
whole.
cover of night.
You don't want to
And,
dig up a grave in the middle of the day?
I'm sure it would be quite the spectacle, but no.
So is it a grave or is it like a mausoleum?
This is more like a monument. So
Oh.
there's lots of normal graves. There's some mausoleums at the cemetery. And then way at the back, right at the edge of the river, there's this massive 25-foot tall statue of this rather average looking dude. You know, he's got a sword and a shield, but you know, like the statue's face is okay. I mean, you know, it's not like this guy was out winning beauty awards, strength contest, dexterity. Like this is your average Joe.
Oh, he must have had a massive dick.
Or he was really funny.
Or he just had political power and money.
Ah, there we go, bringing us back down to reality. And you know, it says on his headstone, it says, here lies Duke.
Says he lives waiting for an adventure.
Ooh. Here, here lies Duke Stillwater, like founding member of the court, and you know, like, and then someone is like scribbled on the bottom, and it was like the most average fucker ever. Someone is written underneath. And so I mean, it's separated from the rest. It's very very magnificent. The statue, the location is everything magnificent. The guy that the statue's of, he was an okay dude.
There's nothing wrong with being average.
No.
It could also be, I mean, that's the most glass half full sort of way to look at it. You need to be glass half empty. There's everything wrong with being average, clearly.
Is there?
I don't know, you're British. I mean, everything's got to be glass half empty.
You're right there, actually. Yeah. Average is all right.
Exactly. There's a little too much positivity in your initial take, and I'm sorry, but you can't have that.
True. No.
So I assume you guys dig until you hit coffin?
Well, can we have a look? Have a look at the monuments?
Sure. Is there anything specific you're looking for? Oh Jesus.
Maybe hidden compartments. See if there's anything shiny. I mean, I don't think she's dumb enough to put it on the fucking monument itself, but maybe we don't have to literally dig this guy up.
Should it say buried with
Sure.
in the grave?
Sure.
So why don't you make an investigation check?
All right. Watch me. Watch this sick roll. Investigation. I have a +1 to that as well.
You're a gamer.
16.
So there seems to be something along the base that you it looks like something come out, like a compartment of some sort. But you're not quite sure how to open it up.
So, Halvion, would you say, "Hey, I found something," so that somebody else can roll an investigation check to see if they can help you out with that?
Oh, absolutely fucking not.
Oh.
Yeah, he would.
So Aelin, after a little more poking around and you know, having smaller dexterous fingers, not huge sausage links, you
Sausage fingers.
God damn it! Now I'm hungry.
You poke around and you get to sort of like pop out, and it's like a little tiny drawer, and in the drawer is just a single book.
No.
This book is black. It's got something inscribed in the front, but it's been faded with time.
Nobody touched the fucking book. Halbjorn's.
I don't,
Can
I don't want
Halbjorn
to
fit
read
like
it.
a? No. Can
I want to read it.
Halbjorn fit his shovel in there and use it to scoop the book out?
Yeah,
Or
for sure.
like a dagger or something like that without touching it.
Yeah, you flick it out.
Okay, and he's going to put it in his rucksack.
Wait, no! Don't do
No.
that. Open it.
Remember what happened the last time you read a cursed book? A potentially cursed book?
Just open it. I had to touch it that time. Just open the book.
Actually, yeah, what does this one look like? Does it look like the Infernal books?
It may or may not look like the Infernal books.
Okay, and if memory served, the Infernal books only worked on the race that it was attuned to, correct?
As far as anyone's been able to tell.
Okay, then in that case, Halbjorn's going to... We've already had the human book, right? We've had the halfling book, the elven book. So that leads... Yeah,
Wait, I
let's see
thought we
which one
only had
this
2
is.
of his books.
No, we had 3 of them. I think, cause I remember giving 3 of them to Fiona.
The 3 you gave to
Wasn't-
Fiona were humans, dwarves, and halflings.
Humans, dwarves, and halflings. Oh yeah, the
Aelin, you once
Aelin because
yeah,
he's half elf.
Yep. So you felt under part of its spell. At one point, you have had the Elven book. However, that is now in Alicia's possession.
Okay.
Oh, good. Well, then let me
So
have it.
then-
I want to read it.
Well, hang on. Which one is this for then?
Well, as long as it's not for the one, as long as it's opened by someone who's one of the races that's already gone, it should be okay, shouldn't it?
Yeah, but Halbjorn already has it. He doesn't want anyone else to potentially get cursed.
No, but if the like for example, if the halfling book's already got and a halfling opens it, they'll be okay, won't they? I thought it only cursed the
This
race
would
that
be
had been
the
attuned.
this would be the halfling book then. So yeah, I guess Aelin would be okay to open it.
Yeah,
It's a half elf, not a halfling, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I got it.
exactly.
Give me the book.
He's gonna cast enhance ability on her. Just in case. I guess Fox's cunning. If that would help.
Is that intelligence?
Intelligence. Yep.
Okay. So, Aelin, you look at the book and you feel this like surge of power. There's definitely some sort of negative force coming from the book. But it doesn't, like it doesn't speak to you in the same way that when you picked up the last book was. And you open it up inside, and it's all written in Infernal, which you are proficient in, correct?
Yep.
So, it talks about the story of of an orc warlord who commanded these great armies. And it's sort of like an odd fantasy story. You know what I mean? It'd be like if
Almost fantasy stories are odd, so yes.
yes. It's very much like you picked up like a novel of sorts, and it's about this orc warlord. But you can, by looking over the book, you can tell a couple things right off the bat. This isn't paper, and that's not ink.
Ew, I don't want the book anymore.
All right, give it back. Do we know in character that Alicia has the Elven book?
Yes. Some way or another. I'm not. I'd have to go back through and see when she got it, but I'm guessing she got it. Yeah, she would have gotten it during this past arc, 'cause she wasn't in the first arc.
Okay.
So she would have gotten it sometime during the second arc. You guys would know that.
Okay, so after we finish up here, we should go back to the queen and see if we can't get that away from her. I don't remember if Fiona. This is out of character, but I don't remember if Fiona was okay with Alicia and Ciela learning of her plans. You know what? That's actually something he could just ask her in character. So as he takes the book away from Aelin, he's going to flip open the journal again and let Fiona know what they found. And he's going to ask her. He's say, "Hey, found another infernal book. Are you okay with Ciela and Alicia knowing of your plans for them?"
And she replies back just very simply saying they already know.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's back to grave robbing again. Might as well get this lodestone and get the fuck out.
So you guys go back to digging up this grave, and you dig down pretty deep before you finally hit the coffin. And when you hit the coffin, it's remarkably well, like remarkably intact. Despite being a 300-year-old coffin, the coffin itself hasn't really deteriorated. And the materials, like there's gilded work on it and things like that, that hasn't, faded with time, hasn't rusted over. It's oddly untouched.
I think we need to be prepared when we open this up. for it being not-
Does not have that. Does anybody have detect good or evil?
No.
Maybe Ciela as a class feature or spell.
I don't think she has it as a spell or a class feature, but I'll look.
Is Nina still traveling with us?
Nina is also still traveling with you.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
protection from good and evil, but no detect good and evil, I don't think.
Gotcha.
Let's see.
Ah, she's in characters now. Fuck yeah. She has detect magic, so
Yeah.
that's something we should have a use of.
It's not prepared though.
It's a ritual. It's a ritual, so she's good.
Yeah. Should have her use that on the coffin and see what that's about.
So Nina, cast this ritual of detect magic over the coffin, and she says there's like a, like an oddly powerful source of enchantment magic inside this coffin. She's like, it's radiating and changing the area around it. She's like, so I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna find when we open the coffin. She was like, but I don't know if I'd expect a corpse or not. She was like, in the way that like the coffin hasn't deteriorated, I don't know if the body inside has deteriorated either.
Well, as long as it doesn't get up and walk around, I think we'll be fine.
Is there a way? Is anybody capable of summoning a familiar? And does Navi have like a mind of its own? Like,
Yes? Question mark? As in all familiars have minds of their own?
and it could be affected by the enchantment magic, right? By enchantment magic, rather.
Sure.
Okay. What about? Does anybody? Shit, man. Because I ran into a similar something that might be similar to this in a different campaign. And I'm thinking we should get something that does not have a mind to open this up.
Doesn't have a mind.
Yeah, like a construct or an undead, but I don't think anybody has necromancy. No, that's actually another topic I wanted to bring up at some point.
We've dug up this old guy. Hey guys, do you want to talk about necromancy?
Okay, so I realize that the timing of that is unfortunate, but thing. Completely different situation that I would be wanting to discuss with you guys. All right. Well, you know what?
Oh no.
Halbjorn's going to drop enhance ability on Aelin, cast protection from good and evil on himself, and open the coffin.
So you open the coffin, and the corpse inside looks as though it was buried yesterday. Still very much got all of its skin and, like sullen eyes. It doesn't have like overgrown long fingernails. And you can see right in like this very recent corpse's like hand, like grasp, there's some sort of like some sort of stone that looks, the first two lodestones that you guys came across looked very similar. They're silver once they got polished and cleaned up, then they were silver outside of the light, but when looked at through the light they looked translucent like a prism. And you could, see a rainbow through it, right? This one looks almost like he's holding like a glass rod. It's very it like light that would affect it, which I imagine you guys have some lanterns for the after dark activities you guys are using them for. when you shine a light through it, like it just spits out color. You know, in a very real prism sense. And no matter which way you look at it, it's almost translucent all the way through. Or almost transparent all the way through. There's like and you know, so it looks a slightly better version, or significantly better version, I say, instead of the ones that you found so far.
Okay.
Do you take it away from Corpsey?
Hang on. Yeah, he's going to tell the guy, you know, I'm sorry, but we need this. And he's going to take the lodestone.
Great robbery. So you pull the lodestone from its grip, which is quite strong, to be honest. And as soon as you do, the corpse, like, just dissolves. I wouldn't say even dissolves, like, just, you know, Avengers snaps into dust.
Oof.
Into this pile. And the rest of, you know, the coffin itself, like, withers extremely quickly. You see the wood rots away really quick. It goes into a grave site from yesterday to a 300-year-old grave site as soon as you pull out the stone. So
Well,
congratulations.
hopefully she doesn't visit very often.
Congratulations. Not only are you grave robbers, you're grave desecrators. Real cool guys.
Real cool guys.
I
guy
think
who
I
made
think
the
it
world.
sounds like he's. I think it sounds like he's finally allowed to rest in peace.
So is there any way we could get like some cantrips or maybe some first level spells to make the grave look undisturbed?
Yeah,
As much as
definitely.
we can?
You could definitely cast what's it called? The thing that makes everything clean. Its name is
Prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation. Yeah.
Nice.
as well as mold earth will also help you in this.
Yeah.
So between the two, you guys clean up the grave. Looks a lot better. Definitely doesn't look like anyone dug up a 300-year-old corpse and stole the only thing that was preserving him.
Are we the bad guys?
Are we the baddies?
Yes.
What? The end justifies the means.
Not always.
So I think our next step should be to visit the queen, see if we can't get that other book away from her. Because if she knows what Fiona's plans for her are, then she should know that, you know, maybe that having that book around isn't such a good idea. And then we arrange a meeting with Fiona and give her the last two of these infernal books.
I like the idea, and I'm not opposed to it. However, I might suggest that we finish up the lodestone business before moving on to something else.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Is like after we finish out what we started.
So what do you guys take the lodestone and try it out? Is that what the plan is from here?
Sure.
So you take the lodestone and put it in the middle, and it's much more reactive than the other ones have been. This one sort of like you see the area around it, around the teleportation circle, come to life. Trees, like flowers bloom on the grass below and whatnot. And when you go into the center, instead of you going to this other plane of existence, this pocket dimension essentially, it sort of like prompts you, like there's a voice from nothingness prompts you, and it says, like master lodestone detected. Like, do you wish to change settings on the network?
I love it.
Yes, we do. What options do we have?
And it lists some odd options. So options include like repairing like damaged sites. It also has like locking out the portals, like setting up a separate verification system essentially besides the lodestone. But also there's a like how would I say this, like a self-destruct code, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
There's a way that you can manage the network that you can destroy all the portals using this master lodestone.
But this master lodestone is like administrator permission for
Correct.
changes, presumably.
Essentially.
Right.
Is there any information provided about the destruction option? Like, how catastrophic is it?
And so when you ask it, the prompt replies that the impacted radius and the impacted radius is from the center of the site upwards of it's a like area affected is upwards of 1 kilometer.
Okay.
And that's all it
No-
really says.
No, thank you. We'll keep that in mind.
In case we have to nuke everyone, here we go.
Yeah.
But gonna pass on that for now.
Is there any games on there like solitaire or anything, or
Minesweeper.
just to Snake, just to pass the time if you waited to teleport but you're bored? No, sorry. I think it'll be useful. I think it'll be useful if we put some level of. It's a shame we can't like make it so that we, I mean, I'm not well, going a bit overboard, but like a handprint or fingerprint type of thing where it could literally have to be us.
No,
Use
that's
them.
a great idea, I think.
Yeah.
Big brain shit right there.
Yeah. So that essentially, then it wouldn't matter if someone had the key; they'd literally have to chop one of our hands off or rip an eyeball out or something, or similar. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I think that's about as safe as we could get, really, in the circumstances.
maybe let's not take it quite that far.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want that to happen, but what I mean is, other than that, somebody else wouldn't be able to necessarily use something. But
yeah,
I mean, we would presumably, if we've got the master key, for want of a better way to describe it, we could bypass that anyway if we wanted to. If we wanted somebody we knew to use someone, for example, somebody in a completely different town who was one of our allies could have a key for the portals. If we wanted them to have access to them, we could just we should be able to change the security settings. That
Yeah.
will, in a way. So we could say, right, okay, you'll be able to use it now till such and such a time for you to get you and your guys to such and such a location. And then we'll withdraw your permission in a way.
As a matter of fact, we should replace the lodestone in our tower with the master lodestone.
If that's doable, yeah. And then we're
Yeah.
we're in charge of the whole fucking network.
So
To me, I'm the
we-
captain now.
Yeah. So we have the option to repair all teleportation circles.
Yes.
Okay, he's going
Update
to
the security settings.
send that one out so that he doesn't have to spend another 12 hours casting men over and over and over. What other options do we have aside from self-destruct and repair?
There's also like enhanced security settings. So the options it gives for enhanced security systems is you can add a passcode, you can add verification by blood, and it beyond these security, like fortifications you can add to it. You can also turn off a portal. You can turn off parts of the network.
Okay.
All right.
So here's my suggestion: is we have a passcode, right? And we change it on a weekly or daily basis. And any affected parties can be sent the new passcode via sending from the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sending it's it's not like sending can be intercepted, right? It's like quantum entanglement. It goes from one point to the other, bing bang boom, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like a radio signal that can be intercepted.
That's good. That's good.
You just said you could activate it. Did you say blood?
Yes. So like a
Right,
drop
so
of
could you-
blood would.
Could you do it so? Could we have it so that we had a setting on it where we could say it was just like the group of us, and to activate any of those portals, you'd need the keystone thing and a drop of one of ours blood.
Yeah, but how hard would it be to get a drop of our blood? Because
Well,
I don't need to tell you how often we end up bleeding.
oh no, I realise that, but I don't know whether. Yeah, as long as we don't tell anyone that that's the thing you need. Like, as long as we don't have it pop up and say, "Oh, but you'd also need a little drop of blood from one of those." Like, nobody needs to know that, do they?
No one needs to know.
I mean, I know it's not the perfect, most practical thing, but it's better that than not have any other extra security. I would think.
Do you want to stab yourself
mean,
with a pin every time we need to travel?
Well, I mean, considering we usually get sliced up and then we have a long rest and we're all right again.
I'll
probably not
stab
that
you every
bad,
time
is
we need to travel.
it?
I'm not gonna go around cutting my
I'll-
fucking hand open for it.
It's a tiny little pinprick of blood. We're usually dripping in blood anyway. In actual fact, at least it'd give us a reason to walk around bleeding all the time, which is basically what we do. I thought something a little. I thought it would be nice if it was like a thumbprint or something, but I don't know. Maybe we could get someone to build that feature in later.
A thumbprint in blood.
A bloody
Of
thumbprint.
blood.
It doesn't have to be it's a specific person's blood. It could be anyone's blood. It just has to be your thumbprint.
Yeah. Well, we can deal with the specifics of that probably next time, I suppose, because it's.
Yeah, it's time.
Broadly speaking, broadly speaking, we'll be able to use it and set it as we want to, give people codes out as we want to, and it should be relatively safe, shouldn't it? from being infiltrated.
Yes.
Relatively safe in the world in which we live.
Well, this is a pretty good stopping point.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry I muted 2 of you for like 45 minutes.
That's all right. I don't think I said anything for about 45 minutes. Which is out of character. Out of character is what I mean.
Yeah.
I've hurt my back, so I've taken a lot of painkillers, so I'm a bit woozy. I think that's what happened.
Well, if no one has any qualms, see you all next week. I'm going to go to sleep.
All right.
All right, man.
I'll see you later,
Take
Dave.
Yeah,
it
I'm gonna
easy.
take a nap.
Cool. See you next week.
See ya.
Toodles.